Okay, it's recording.
Okay, this meeting of the Design Review Board is called to order by Lori Gannell at 5:30 p.m. on November 1st, 2023. Okay, roll call of board members. Ed Briggs, absent.
Excused.
Excused. Peter Gaffer.
Present.
Stephen Green, excused. Lori Gannell, here. Ben Lepley.
Here.
Doug Taylor.
Present.
Ted Schriever.
Here.
And then Frank Davis, counsel, is not present.
Excused.
He's excused as well.
Sorry.
Yes, thank you. Okay, call to the public. So any residents of Bisbee who would like to come up and speak about a topic not on the agenda are welcome to step up, and you have 3 minutes, Shawnee.
Hello, my name's Sean Hicks, and I'm. Is this on?
Should be.
Hello?
Oh, yeah.
This is concerning a design review board application that will go on next month's meeting. I've already submitted it and paid for it, but it's for repairing some stairs and putting a railing and repairing the top of the retaining wall at 729A Tombstone. It's actually on Warren Avenue, which goes up above Tombstone. I am coming here because I wanted to ask for a portion of this application, the repairing of the stairs, to be administratively approved, but I don't want to step on the toes of the board. I wanted to just be transparent about it, make sure. So what I wanted to do is be available after the meeting if there was anybody who had some questions about it, if it was going to be something I want to see. I do have pictures of what I'm planning to do, and if anybody had qualms about it, then I would just wait till next month when I do the full application. The problem is it's just getting cold, and I want to pour that concrete before there's freezing nights. That's all. So it's a little bit odd because it does have metal nosing to the stairs, like I did on the stairs at 318 Brewery Avenue. That was approved by the board, and people seem to be happy with it. So I just want to do it in a similar style. But anyway, that's all. Just if anybody has any objections, find me afterwards. Thanks.
Thank you, Sean. All right, anybody else? Okay, we'll close the call to the public. And revisiting some old business agenda, item 1, application 23-11, 713 Warren Avenue. Is there somebody here?
No, that is the letter you received from Michelle.
Oh, okay.
She was supposed to come back to you for the window to have a plan, and she has decided that she would not be replacing it. So it is up to the board tonight to look at her letter that she submitted, the reasons why, and then give staff direction on what you would like to do regarding.
Okay, okay. So do we discuss this right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's the item.
All righty then. All right, so nobody's speaking for the applicant. Is there any public comment on this?
I didn't
For or
receive any.
against? Okay. Moving on to staff comments. There's no staff here to comment, so we will move on to board discussion. Do you want me to read the letter, board, or is everybody, we just got it just now, so.
It was emailed earlier. I just made sure everybody had a hard copy.
Okay, cool. Discussion?
Well, I'm disappointed she didn't move forward with it, but I understand.
If I can get you to speak in the microphones, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
okay.
Sorry.
Hello. I'm disappointed that she didn't go forward with it. The reasons why she didn't go forward are really not our purview. The economics and the age of the applicant are not our purview. But having said that, I understand that she is not able to take care of all the windows that she has, because apparently more windows have piled up that are having problems. I think as a directive, I'd like her to come back in 6 months. I'm not making a motion, but I'd like to have her come back in 6 months, and in the meantime, I'd like her to talk to Step Up Bisbee and/or Southern Arizona Community Action Program, and see if there's something that they can do to remedy her problem. I don't think it's necessarily, it doesn't have to be a handmade window. It can be, a stock window, but it has to have something done.
Just looking at it, and so the new window that she does have looks like the old window that was there before, right?
I don't know, this is the one where she,
There's the old window,
is that the old one? Okay, yeah, it
that's
does.
the old one, and this
It's
is the new
okay.
one.
It is where she had done the work, she'd had the work done without a permit.
Right, and she replaced like for like, it looks like to me.
No,
She did not,
this window here is the same. That was the window that was replaced.
not this?
That is the window.
That is, yes.
It's just, this is a far away from the street, and this
Same
is what it looks like up close.
Okay.
Oh, okay, but it says new window here, and it says old window on the previous
That's
one.
what I did.
Oh, which one does it say old window? Because this one
Oh,
says
okay.
window replaced.
Oh, window replaced.
Yeah, it doesn't say
I
old.
interpreted that as.
Oh,
old
I'm
window.
sorry.
I did, because the window
I
that was
apologize, no,
replaced-
we did it, Joe went and took a picture from the street of what it looked like from the street.
Oh, I see.
And then he went and got one where that was the window that was put in.
I gotcha.
And I
Okay.
would like to point out, Joe and Javi both went up there to her and told her prior to her putting in that window that she needed DRB approval.
Right.
And she decided to go ahead and do it anyway.
Okay.
And is this the one, I may have gotten it mixed up with another one, but is this the one where one of the local contractors said that he would build her a window?
No, that's not this one.
Okay,
Joe, it was directed that Joe go up there and look at her windows, and he did so, and gave her a recommendation for them
Okay.
on the other windows. And those other windows, only 2 of them so far, she just came before us a couple months ago, and 2 of the other windows that were nailed shut have been replaced. So different contractor.
okay.
Anybody else have comments on this?
No, really, I concur with what my colleague says. It's an unfortunate situation, these come up from time to time, but it isn't our purview to excuse, really, sort of a complete disregard to the DRB's rules. I hate to do it. I don't think she did it with malice, but that's the way it is. If we make an exception now, we make an exception for everybody, and it's a slippery slope. So I think what Mr. Taylor has proposed is very sensible. Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Taylor's recommendation.
Have her come back in 6 months.
Yeah, after talking with, some local nonprofits that might serve assistance.
Okay. All right, do we have a motion for agenda item number 1?
First, may I,
Yes, you may.
Mr. Ward, did you hear the suggestion I had made? Were you here when I was saying that I think you're gonna be involved if she goes to Step Up Bisbee or Southern Arizona Community Action Program. So is that something you're okay with?
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be a good fix to fill.
Okay. So I'm gonna make a motion that we direct the applicant to seek help through Mr. Ward from various community action groups, and to come back in 6 months with a plan for the fixing of the window we're talking about, and perhaps as gravy we'll get, well, I shouldn't have gravy on the motion, but perhaps others could be fixed.
Okay, I second the motion. All in favor say aye.
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 All against say nay. Okay, 5 ayes, so the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, moving on to agenda item 204, application 23-94, 204 Brewery Avenue.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Steve Suskin, I'm the homeowner at 204. I want to put this little fence on the front. I'm kind of up on a wall across from Mimosa Market over there, if you're familiar. And I've got about 10 or 12 foot drop off there. I need to, part of it has an old chain link I want to replace with this metal fence. I think I should have a picture of it. That's the design, yeah. And so there's 8 feet on one side and then maybe, I think, 20 plus feet on the other side. And that's it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, so we have a public comment, or staff comments, or no, public comment. Do we have any public comments for or against this application? No. Staff comments?
Yeah, I think it's really unsafe the way it is, that the fence is not up on that retaining wall, and I'm really glad to hear something's being done about it.
Thank you. Okay, moving along to the board discussion.
I have a question of the applicant. Is this a photo of it being manufactured here?
Yeah, yes, that's being fabricated in the guy's shop
And
in Hereford.
without approval, how come you went forward with manufacturing?
I've been trying to get this project, get this guy to build this for me for about a year, so I'm hoping you guys can approve this and I won't all be for naught.
Well, I think it looks pretty cool. I don't have any objection.
I'm just wondering why somebody goes forward before it's
Oh, I
approved.
understand.
I agree, I think it looks great. I mean, I think we have standards for fences, we all know, but fences are almost a work of art in this town. And I think as creative as people can be, I think we should encourage it, certainly, approve it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, any other discussion on this one?
I make a motion to approve RB application 2394.
Second it.
2394, yes, okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against say nay. Okay, 5 ayes, your application passes unanimously.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay. And, let me see. Okay, moving on to agenda item 3, application 23-97, 413 Garden Avenue. Is that the one that you said?
No. Joe, I believe you're
Boss.
presidenting on that for her. Sorry.
Okay.
Well, I guess I'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay, the applicant would like to replace their rotting railing with, I guess with that, the metal, the depiction.
They've given two
Well, I see
choices.
3 different kinds of metal here, I don't understand quite. Oh, I took that down below. Yeah. Okay. So the metal pickets or the metal fence wire.
Yeah.
Fence panel. Yeah, there's another picture that shows a kind of a rebar off
Oh, right, that is already existing, this, it's just below the other fence.
Yeah.
So it's either type A or type B of this.
Type A or type B. Okay. Thank you. All right, moving on to, did I skip public comment on this one? I did, I'm so sorry. Moving on to public comments, does anybody have any comments for or against this application? And no letters? Okay, we'll close public comments. Board discussion.
I'd approve either. I think option A looks like a pretty, I don't know, just kind of bland pool railing. Option B has like a little bit more personality to it, but some might think it looks too modern, but in my view, it's not replacing a deck that looks historic at all, so in my view, you can see the historic house better with option B.
I like option B better as well. Any other discussion on this?
Do we need to dictate A or B?
Yes.
I think we did.
Okay, then, I'm okay with the motion of my expert friends to make a motion to approve option B.
Okay, all right. Would anybody like to make a motion?
You just did.
You just did. Make a
Oh,
motion.
did I?
I thought you did.
It was an accidental motion.
Oh, I didn't think he
No.
was.
I'll make an official motion
Okay, go ahead.
if we're ready for it.
Do we have a motion?
I do have a motion.
All right.
I'll second.
Whoa.
Let him make the motion first.
Trying to move us along here. Sorry,
To
Peter.
approve application number 23-97, the provision that the board approves type B. Do you have a second?
Do we have a second?
I'll say.
Seconded by Mr. Shriver. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All against say nay. Okay, 5 ayes have it. So this application passes unanimously. Someone can let Catherine Foss know. Right, moving along to agenda item 4, application 23-98. Okay, public walkway between 1 and 3 Main Street. It's an application for a sign. Is someone here to speak to that? Thank
Yes,
you.
Mr. Gray.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put the application together really on behalf of myself and the people doing work on Shearer Avenue and Subway Street. We have about 10 businesses by default. These are people who live here just trying to put food on their table. This is the primary source of income for these people, I think, in most cases at least. So there are several shops along Subway, you're probably familiar, runs parallel to the main street, and Shearer Avenue goes up. There's a public walkway going between the bank, and then there's sort of an abandoned building there on Main Street. What makes this application a little bit different is that it's not for a specific entity, and it's going to go on to, if approved, public lands. So I think the business case is really what's made in the application. I think aesthetics or design work is also sort of described in there. I think there is some precedent, I did want to talk about that. So historically, traditionally, with the airspace above sidewalks in this town, just like pretty much any other Main Street America, has signs like this that you see on the first page. The vision, I'm talking about this page here. It would fit in with the rest of the street. There are individual businesses listed on the other side of the sign that you wouldn't see unless you were in the walkway. I think that's consistent too, and we do have precedent for that as well. Even at a distance from the businesses, such as the restaurant that is in Copper Queen Hotel has quite a large sign over a public sidewalk that points, I think they have a pointer finger or an arrow, they have an arrow to the location. So I think we have precedent. I think aesthetically this works, and I think the business case is made. So, you know, if other people want to speak who run the shops, they're here. I'm just sort of...
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, so I will open it up to public comment. Is there anybody here that would like to speak for or against? Come on in. Thank you.
Hi, Lucy St. John, Gil Brown and I own Redbone. We've been in that location for 8 years. We were on Main Street before that. And we are very surprised at a lot of people who don't even know that we exist over there. We've had locals come in who recently will say, I didn't even know there were shops over here. So some signage would be really nice to bring people over. There's several good tax-paying businesses on that street, so we need some awareness, and the sign would help.
Thank you, appreciate it. Anybody else? Okay, yes?
My name is Kim Boo. Ian and I have the Grass Stop Smoothie Bar, also on Shearer. We did have a little sandwich board that was on Main Street that you guys asked us to take down, and since we took it down, business steadily declined. Locals forgot where we were. There were plenty of people before that and thanked us for having some signage that reminded them that we existed and how to get where we were. And tourism has completely dropped ever since it's been gone. So signage pointing people to our existence would really help us out, and the city in turn.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. What you saying? Okay, yeah. And we do have a letter from Mr. Briggs.
Do you want me to?
Sit down.
I have it.
You have it? Okay, thank you.
Board member Briggs wasn't able to be here tonight, but he wanted to say that not only does he think the signage is too large, but placement amounts to permanent off-premises commercial signage, which is not allowed. For this not to be an obstruction, it would need to so close to the bank, it might as well be attached. Also not allowed. But I also would like to point out that the staff from Public Works did put comments in there, and with the new design that Mr. Gray, they're still in support of this application, because they will be the ones that are mounting it on the public right of way. Or walkway, excuse me, not right of way, walkway.
Okay. All right, thank you. With that said, I will close the public comments and open it up to staff comments.
Yeah, I don't understand how it's going to be on the public walkway. What would be attached, I mean, is it attached to, Mark?
And in the application, it describes flanges that are bolted to the concrete underneath, like a stop sign or whatever. It comes vertically off of the concrete with bolts. It's not described in detail, but it's sort of a note on the design page.
It's not flush to the building, it's out.
It's not in contact with the building, but it is in the same offset plane. It needs to be there because there's no place else for it to go. It wouldn't impede traffic. I think 3 feet is the sort of minimum sidewalk that we're allowing. And I think some of the existing businesses have sandwich boards that are probably less than 3 feet on the sidewalk right in front of their own shops. And I think having, it was just mentioned, I think Briggs saying that you couldn't have signs at a distance from a business. That's simply not the case because it exists now with the Copper Queen restaurant and the sign over the sidewalk, which it's not attached to the building, it's just over public space.
And the Copper Queen does have 2 signs over in our park, but that pre-exists the zoning code.
I was gonna say, yeah,
And it's probably not a good idea for them to be there. Anyway, we cut it, but at this point, it's been there for a long time and it's left alone. But I disagree regarding whether it meets the criteria for needing a special use permit as being off-premises advertising, because this is general, not specific. I think it's like the sign that's down at the bottom of Brewery Gulch. It says that there are more signs, there are more
shops ahead.
Shops ahead.
It is specific. There's an addition to this, it just looks like it came in today, is that my understanding?
Yes.
So there is a specific list of tenants.
Okay, I don't have that.
Yeah, I didn't either, but
These are not tenants, to be clear, these are not tenants in my business. These are businesses in that area that are not part of my building at all.
Okay.
painted on the building. Yeah. It's existing. Should we keep doing it? And
Did you hear what?
no, I'm sorry.
He said that these are not his tenants, they're, some of them are, but some of them are not.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
Either way,
Yeah.
it would be offsite signage, require a special use permit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, is it, are we
It's not
speaking?
board
Oh, yeah, okay.
discussion
The
yet.
second part that that's not in the original.
Yeah, the second part would be, okay.
Yeah.
So you wanna wait a minute, I'll open up the, okay. Okay, so, are you finished, Mr. Ward? Okay, thanks. So opening up the board discussion, I'll just say for my own self, I don't really have a problem with the sign that says Subway Street Shops and points. I kinda have a problem with this.
Mhm.
I just
Is it the size of it, or?
know that it's gonna be kinda anchored right here, right where you turn to go in there, and it doesn't, I don't like the way it looks.
Well,
And I'm afraid you could, like, you know, so many people being used to
It is
cutting
kind
through
of
here.
big, and
Big.
I just drew an alternative where it's like sticking out the other side, and they're much smaller, but more visible because you could see it from both sides.
Well, also, on a sign like this,
See,
the-
this
has
very
to, the bottom of this
accurate
sign has
sketch.
to be 9 feet above the sidewalk.
Yeah,
And if you're going to put that at 9 feet, well, if you're gonna put the tenant sign at 9 feet, this thing will be at, looks like 11.5 feet or something.
Well, yeah.
The way you're talking, it's a little bit different, but I don't know, is that sticking out from the actual building?
Yeah, and with the ADA,
This
you're
one-
allowed to stick out a little bit, but not too much.
so
Right.
the original one was anchored to the building, is that correct?
No,
No, it was not.
It's freestanding.
no,
It's
well, it'll
freestanding?
have a pole just
Yeah.
like this one does, but it'll
Oh,
be,
okay.
I think it was what, I forgot how much they said it would be, Logan said it would be away from the, it wouldn't be that, it would be almost flush with it, but there would be enough of a space between the bank and where the pole would be.
Okay.
I just don't remember how much Logan said that would be, but it would almost be near it, but not on the bank property. You know what I mean, not attached to their building.
I just think if it's closer to the main street but smaller, they'll actually be more visible, and you could see it from both sides, and then it would distract
So
less from the main building.
This way?
Yeah, just like hung.
Yeah,
Like
hung
this
little
anchor.
signs.
Well, the problem I think is a little bit more basic, is that in our regulations 7.2.6, the general requirements for signs, only traffic control devices and directional signs are permitted to be installed or maintained on or within the public roads, streets, alleys, sidewalks, or other public right-of-ways of the city of Bisbee. City personnel are authorized to remove all unauthorized signs from city property without further notice. This is on city property, which also the maintenance falls on the owner of the property, so the city will be in charge of maintenance of this sign, which I think makes it a moot point. And I feel for the people who want to get, I totally feel for the people who want to get customers down there. But this, yeah, I'd rather that we made a special exception for a what do they call it, a sandwich board sign or whatever that the young lady had said was
Yeah, it was
denied.
this.
I don't know what.
You weren't, you may not have been
Oh, is that where that
there.
was?
You were gone,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
Did you
I'd
see
have-
what
I'd have
Public
to remove
Works
it.
wrote on
Yes,
their
I
stuff?
don't
I
agree
just
with
wanted to
that.
make
Yeah.
sure that you saw it.
Yeah.
I don't know, I disagree, simply, especially because this is more than, addresses more than one property. I think if anything, maybe the city council can, approve and pay for it, as a piece of city property. If the DRB isn't going to allow it or whatever, I would encourage him to maybe have the city pay.
Well, the sign for the Copper Queen is non-conforming, and it's grandfathered essentially.
Yeah.
Does this open up a floodgate for the Banshee and Contessa's to have a sign at the Busy Bee parking lot saying they're up the hill? At what point do we keep directing people away from a spot or toward another spot? And I don't know that that's of much value.
Yeah, I don't know if I would object to a sign there saying, or going up the gulch to Mimosa Market, I wouldn't object to that.
I believe
As long
that,
as they're not like you know, those big
Big,
plastic
ugly plastic
fluorescent
thing.
lit, you know, things.
Well,
There's a lot of bang for the buck with this sign.
Yeah.
You're promoting, well, there's, I'm seeing 8 businesses here, there are probably more, because they change from time to time.
Yeah.
And Mr. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think it's, if there's a way of blessing it as far as the appearance, let the city deal with the actual details. I certainly, from an aesthetic point of view, I would definitely approve it. I think it's good for the city, it's good for the shop owners. So that's, if there's some zoning and issues, then that is something the city should deal with, not us.
And Mr. Ward, a while back you had Artemisia, or whatever the museum or gallery at the top of the hill, had a sign in the parking lot down below. And we told them not to? Is that, you asked them not to have that sign?
Yeah.
And how does that relate to this? And also that Cornucopia puts signs everywhere on buildings they don't even own. And, I mean, if we're allowing this, are we allowing them?
Cornucopia is overdue. They got notice of violation served on them. They've been talked to about it. And it's past time probably at this point to give them a citation. So it has been addressed, the Cornucopia issue.
And what's the difference between Cornucopia and Artemisia, that they have off-site signage? Artemisia had to shut it down, and Cornucopia apparently does too.
Artemisia immediately complied with the request, and Cornucopia hasn't. That's the only difference, and it takes longer to enforce when people don't comply when they're asked.
So the difference is they were doing it on their own without any permission, and this is requesting permission.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think this could branch off into another topic about, you know, whether there should be, the code should be amended to have some guidelines for off-property signage isn't over a certain size, it's not illuminated,
Yeah.
you can only have one per property or something like that, or one per business, you know, and then, you know, I think we should try and help our businesses, you know, under, just generally speaking, you know, it's not like it's Starbucks or something.
Well, I have a question for the applicant is, why isn't this sign a good spot at the corner of Shearer and Subway, or maybe further down on, because when you're driving up from the museum and you're driving up there, you're looking at a split in the road and you're almost going straight towards Subway. Would that be a better spot for it?
I would love to see a sign there that also would be in public
I know,
airspace.
I know, I'm just trying to,
I would love to see a sign there, and I think a big sign, historically, well, there is a sign on the back of the bank building that we're talking about not attaching this sign to, and I don't want to attach it to original brick. I don't want to drill holes in a brick building. So I think having an offset from that is the best thing to do. There is a sign on the back of the bank building that's painted in a mural style. Unfortunately, it's about knee-high, so when a car, I think, illegally parks there, but whatever, you can't see the sign anymore. It's in the wrong orientation, it needs to be 90 degrees.
Yeah, because
Kind of this
people
way,
can't
so that-
see it when they're driving in it.
But cars and people, you know, I don't want the car traffic, I want the pedestrian traffic, that's who we're after. We're selling smoothies, we're selling shirts, we're selling artwork. These are things you need to see and go, yes, please. So I want that foot traffic. So I'd love to have another sign. That would be another application though.
So I have a question, because I feel like we saw before an iteration of this where the signs were on that corner of Shearer and Subway, right?
historically.
And they were stacked like this with little chains between each sign?
In that orientation,
Yeah, that's like
away from
right,
the street, yeah.
yeah, going, but it's right in front of Shearer going up, right? So,
Mhm.
which case you would see Grass Stop and the other
That's
shops.
only my building, you can't, it's beautifully framed for my business, my building, but it doesn't help all of Subway. It's only me, and I'm trying to do something that's beyond me, I think what we have is an untapped resource in the city called Subway Street at Shearer. And you can't see it, visitors, it's a real shame if a visitor comes into town, they want a smoothie. There's one place to get a smoothie, it's that shop. If they don't see it, that's 10, 15 bucks in their pocket that we're not getting any revenue on. And they're not getting their lunch money.
Yeah,
So-
so the reason I ask is because it seems to me like if we have a sign like this, and this is a cute sign, it looks, you know, like an old timey sign.
Yeah,
Subway Street shops, it's essentially pointing straight to those other signs.
the reason that those other signs are there, and I agree, it does look like a bit of a land grab, and I don't intend that at all. And, you know, truth be told, if we have to do away with that aspect of the sign, we can do that, but an argument for that, it's every business within like 100 meters or whatever from that sign location. If the fiber arts wanna be on there, that's fine, you know, that's, and encourage it, why not? All these other businesses wanna be on there, I think that's fine. But the feedback that we got specifically was that people wanna see what it is that they have on offer. If it says more shops, they'll look down, frankly, a very graffitied, dark alley with zero lighting, full of graffiti, just being honest with you. They're gonna look down there and go, nah, I'll be on Main Street in this, you know, where everyone else is, keep it safe. That's what we're dealing with, that's kind of the funnel that gets our customers at this point. And I agree, more signage would be very helpful. And historically speaking, you guys, don't forget, we had awnings, we had signs, we had fabric tarps hanging down on my building just to create shade for the general store in there. It gets hot, there's a lot of glass. But we had softer, more colorful, informative elements of this town historically. All the photos show that. I don't think we're confusing visitors by giving them more options. And I don't think that we've cluttered our streets with too many signs.
I'd like to, I know all of you board members have seen black and white photos of Bisbee in 1910, 1905. Especially the Gulch is just completely littered with signs, and that is one of the things that gave it its character. And I think it's too cleaned up now, if I'm being totally honest. Like back then, they had signs going from building to building across the street, you know, on wires and stuff. It was just
And I've seen
crazy.
pictures of Subway that are like that also. The old Subway was just a jumble of different signs and painted, sides of buildings. If I may just direct a question to you, it looks like you have 12 tenant spaces here.
Yeah.
Does that cover the Legion bar, if that ever opens, or the hotel up further? And does it, if the Fiber Arts Guild was on here, does that include everyone that's in the building where Kafka is? That's 3. And then I don't know how many are in your building, but
Yeah.
I mean, 12 doesn't seem like enough. And it just starts to look like a huge, I don't know, it looks huge.
I would
And maybe
say-
it's the way the graphic was done, I don't know, but
Yeah.
it does look huge.
But to answer your question, there are 12 now, and you're saying, where does that come from? That was a quick count in my mind, and yeah, it does include all the 3 businesses next door to mine. There's the gallery next door to that, so it's 31 Subway, I think 33 Subway. If it wanted to include that bar area, I mean, I think we need more signs, and frankly, this really should be the tip of the iceberg, only to get people where they want to go. I don't think it's really stripped down, it's not cluttered. I think that's what we're dealing with, is a lack of information, not too much information. And there are flags and there are Christmas lights that are on all year round on Subway Street. They're there for a reason. They were there to try to add energy and to bring people in. They were there before I bought the building, so this is an ongoing effort. People say Subway Street's dead, but I'm just saying, well, look, there's literally 0 signage, except on the back of the bank building. It says, hey, come to Subway Street, and you're reading it, the only place to read it is from Subway Street. So we have literally 0 signs. Even, we have businesses, we have the Kafka, there's no sign. We have, there's nothing, and my building needs some more signage as well, so.
Well, I agree with you that Subway is probably an untapped gem, that I've always thought that it was full of great
To
things.
see pedestrianized maybe in the
Yeah,
future.
maybe that, yeah.
And but, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
There was a certain area on, for example, we could say the area that that sign currently has, if we get more businesses in there, then maybe the real estate shrinks for each one. I don't know, I'm just trying to find a solution.
Yeah, I agree with you on the intent. I just feel like this is, I don't see that being the solution, but that's just me.
I mean, I think we have to separate what's under Joe or the city's jurisdiction and ours. I mean, ours is more on the aesthetic part, and, I mean, my point of view is, you know, maybe having smaller placards for the individual businesses and keeping the big one, maybe making that one a little smaller. But in general, you know, instead of 2 posts, 1 post, so it's not covering as much of the bank. That's just my aesthetic comments. And,
Yeah.
you know, I'd like to see it happen, you know, however it needs to happen legally.
I actually agree with that also, because I know that it's a need, and I would hate to see, you know, a business like the Grass Stop, and, you know, a lot of locals know Redbone, but a lot of tourists don't, right? They don't know you're there. And I really would like to see these businesses succeed. And if, you know, we just heard that just removing the sandwich board had a dramatic impact on the Grass Stop, right? So that's sad, and I just,
No, I agree with that.
we need to do something.
I do agree with
To
that.
help
I
them,
just don't know
yeah.
that this is the solution. I'm not convinced this is the solution. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and actually, to meet ADA code, you could have those little placards go all the way down further, and then no
And
one's
how would
gonna-
that work? It'd just be sticking, they'd be going down right
Yeah,
here?
like
We're second-
8 inches
second-
wide, just all the way down, visible from both sides.
I think in our regulations, I remember there's a height limit so that nobody catches themselves on a sign when they're walking past it. That's why it's 9 feet. And I think that perhaps part of the problem is this graphic that you have on this page looks kind of low, and it might be that that's the way I'm reading it, and maybe that's, others are reading it that way, but it would have to be 9 feet, which is probably up around this division here. I don't know what that is, but
It would be 9 feet.
yeah, you would be, I figured.
All right, so I agree with Mr. Lepley about the size of the additional, you know, placards that announce the businesses. It just seems big and a little bit intrusive to me. I mean, I personally love that little walkway through there. I
Yeah.
never found it scary.
I don't want it to look like an off-ramp on the freeway. That's
Yeah.
my biggest nightmare. I do not want logos on this. I don't want it
Yeah.
to look like that. I want business names or something like that without a logo. And it can be any size. If you guys wanna shrink it down, you know, as long as it's not a dollhouse size.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna be right there looking at it. It doesn't need to be huge. They're 10 feet away max.
What if you went with the proposal that we had in the packet today?
Okay.
I know that today is with this also, but this kind of, I haven't had time to really integrate this new one. I was having enough trouble with the 5 by whatever it was sign there. I forget what it is, 5 by 2 or something like that, 5 by 20. But what if you came back for the second, if this works, or doesn't work, I guess is how you would come back.
Yeah.
You know, this seems way out of proportion.
Visually, it's not scaled. I only have PowerPoint. I'm too old to learn something new.
Yeah, well, I'm
So,
on board with you
It
on that
won't
one.
look like
Just
that.
like here.
And for reference,
Yeah.
the sign I had approved for my building is, I think it's 9 feet wide by like 7 feet tall.
But I remember us voting on that, I think we voted unanimously
It's
because
huge.
it was,
Yeah.
but it's
But
historic and
It looks small.
Yeah, it looks small,
That's why I-
yeah, exactly, and it was there. You know, if you look at old photographs, that was there. I think you even included old photographs. I was all on board with that one. This one I have,
I agree with you. I'll be honest, I'm not loving exactly everything about it, but I will say this, I don't know, it seems goofy and wrong to say, hey, look down there, that's Mark Rayon's at. that doesn't seem right to me. And the feedback that I've had from people when it says there's an arrow, there's stuff that way, they look at the arrow, they say, one thing, who knows? But if it's something that you recognize, like a smoothie, something you recognize, you know, bookstore, shoe store, smoothie shop,
It is
bar.
Yeah, so what if, you know, like sort of a combination of what you're saying and what you're saying, what if we had this sign like this, and then what Mr. Lefley was describing was, you know, eight or 10 or whatever signs coming down this way, narrower, so it's not taking up so much space, and it's kind of up against the building.
I hate to be a stick, but I just can't, I don't see it right now. Maybe if I walked it a little bit. I think you guys are on the right track with that one, but I don't. And I do want to support business. That's what we're here to do, and zoning is here to do, is to have rules that help people know where they are in the process and in the legality of it, not stop them from things. That is the last thing I want to do, is stop merchants from having customers.
Mr. Gafford, you have any thoughts?
No, I think we need to get off dead center. I'm with Mr. Lefley. I think in the spirit of it, and I think even my colleague Mr. Taylor is, in the spirit of it's a good idea. The implementation is questionable perhaps, but I really do think that this is important. When I saw the application, I thought, what a damn good idea. I don't want to stand in the way of the folks on Subway who really need a little bit more promotion. It opens up the town. If there's a way of making it work and legally and the city is blessing it, I just cannot see my way to denying the application. Maybe we could ask perhaps for a resubmittal so that we could take another peep at it, a little bit more detail on the sizing, maybe with the city taking a look at it to make sure that they're on board with it. Can we do something like that and postpone the vote or table it?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to approve the Subway Street shop sign, but
Okay.
I don't want to put an additional application expense on you.
No, I wasn't.
No, we wouldn't.
No, I wasn't going to make an
It would be
additional
additional,
expense.
right?
No, it'd just be
Just-
amending this one.
It would be
Yeah.
amending.
Yeah,
Yeah, so there would be no extra
so we
charge.
can keep it moving forward. I mean,
Yeah,
after all,
I
the
think-
thing has to be fabricated in
Right.
some metal shop somewhere, and we don't want to delay it. The Christmas season is upon us. I hate to
Well,
say
right.
it. Let's get it going.
Mr. Ward,
I think that the individual shop signs, as Doug pointed out, having to do with it being on public property, that I think we would need at least the city attorney to sound off on that prior to approving it. You guys can approve it here, though, that's
Yeah.
all fine and good,
Yeah, yeah.
because that doesn't affect everything. But I just think it has to be run past the city attorney at the very minimum.
okay, so how do we go about making a motion on this kind of thing?
Okay, so I'm not clear. Are you wanting to approve the whole thing but get city attorney approval, or are you wanting to just approve the top part and have Mr. Gray come back with a different example of the bigger sign?
Yes,
The second
the
one?
second one.
Okay,
yes.
so just make the motion that you approve, partial approval for that application of the Subway, what does it say?
The main sign.
The main sign, and for Mr. Gray to come back to you at the next meeting with a new proposal and dimensions and height of the bigger sign.
Secondary sign that
Yes.
has all the businesses.
Yes.
Okay,
Are you good with that, Ben?
okay.
Yeah.
Do we have a motion?
Sorry. I'll make a motion to approve DRB application 2398 for only the main part of the directional sign, and for the applicant to come back with a new design for the individual placard portion of the sign.
Okay, I second the motion. All in favor say aye.
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 All against, say nay. Okay, 5 in favor. You were partially approved. There, everybody's partially happy, that's great.
Now you have to.
Okay. All right, thank you. Great, moving on to agenda item 5, application 23-99. 151A OK Street. Come on up.
Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I'm Greg Nolan with Nolan Building Development. I'm the contractor representing the building owner, Jennifer Dietz. Knock that thing off again. Okay, this is kind of an extensive repair on a minor shack way up, almost at the top of OK Street. We're doing new footing, get rid of the rubble, some new joists, but what you guys are concerned about is on the back side of the house, kind of up against this rock cliff, we want to replace a section of wall which includes 3 windows that are at the moment beyond repair, and we want to replace them with vinyl. And the reason we want to use vinyl is because most of the windows that are in the house now that still function are vinyl. So these 3 are on the back side. There's a photo in the back of the submittal that kind of shows you this narrow little space that's kind of up in the top left. That's the portion of wall we're going to be replacing. And you can see there's about 2.5 feet of clear between those windows and this just rock cliff that was chiseled out. So they're really not visible unless you're, intimate with the homeowner and you're up there behind her place. So the other part of this that you guys are keen on is that same back wall. We're going to replace it with a cement board product and then apply battens over that so that it looks like the rest of the original exterior. And the reason for the cement product was a suggestion from her insurance company. They want to see some sort of fire-proof material back there because it is kind of a tight little spot, and if there was a fire on the hill, everything would just fall down, get stuck between that place and her house, and they need some sort of, little time before it burns the whole thing down.
Well, that is close to the hill, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know how I'm gonna put it back there.
Okay, thank you,
Thank you.
appreciate it. All right, opening public comment. Does anybody here have a comment for or against this application? And do we have any letters that came in? Nothing? Okay. Closing public comment, staff comments.
Everything considered, I don't really like the vinyl windows, but everything considered, I think in this instance, it may be appropriate, if that's for you guys to decide. And anyway, the house has to be fixed up one way or the other.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. All right, moving on to board discussion.
Mr. Nolan, I feel like it's way better looking than existing, the proposal. I wish that you weren't using the cement siding. I think that the plywood with battens is a great idea. I know that fire rating's something, but this is a contributing building,
Right.
which I just feel like we watch these sort of get eroded all the time. I think you've been here for other meetings where we've gone through that.
Right, and it was kind of a tough one, but I think what swayed the owner and the designer was that it's virtually hidden from view.
And we can't take, that we can't take that into consideration.
Right.
But is this a smooth-sided cement board or textured, or what does it?
It's pretty smooth. These are 4x8 sheets of cement fiber type material, similar to a hardy board. And then we're going to put just pine battens on a 12-inch center.
But it's not a faux grain or anything like that. Does it look like an A-sided plywood or something like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay. And then the vinyl windows on, you know, on a contributing structure, what I don't understand is, it looked like, I think you said 9 out of 17 windows were vinyl.
Right.
I don't understand how that happened. I know stuff happens, and I just wish that it was, but I wish it was changing. In the past, I've said, well, vinyl is better than a broken window, and if you're keeping it looks like you're gonna frame in new openings on that replacement panel,
Right.
but it's keeping with the sizes of the existing.
Yeah.
And the ones you're replacing, you're not reframing, you're just plugging vinyl into the new hole.
Right.
Okay, well that,
The
yeah.
holes are staying what they are.
Yeah, so the
It's a-
integrity of the original fenestration
Right.
was kept in place.
I didn't get a chance to see the windows in person, and I can't tell from the photographs whether or not they are savable. Unfortunately, I did take note that the windows, these windows here do not have the classic Bisbee center muntin that you can see on photos of some of the other windows on the house. I did find that concerning. So, you know, most Bisbee window, minor shacks have, you know, two lights with a center wood muntin.
Yeah, and they have that in this one too.
That's standard Bisbee, and these vinyl windows don't have that, so,
Well, that is an available feature.
Well, the problem is that when you put that in, they glue it to the face of a window, and that actually, in our regulations, is more than discouraged. I think it's prohibited in the
well, when it's
regulations.
inside of the glass.
Yeah, well, or I think it says outside too when it's glued on the
I
inside.
think they're both prohibited, but,
Yeah,
I mean, if we're kind of skirting the rules here a little bit, they wouldn't be visible from a distance. The only Munson, or the Munson's value would just be added to an interior feel.
I would rather see 1/1 than fake 2/2.
Right.
I'd rather see them restored, but.
Yeah, well, I'm with you on that one.
I haven't personally looked at the windows, but,
Well, you can see in the photo.
the designer, he said that they're pretty termite, there's extensive termite damage on these guys.
But you can see in the photos that it's 2/2s.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's plenty of real 2/2s on the market that are available.
Well, yeah, Anderson makes a decent one. And if you wanna go there, then, you know.
Your
that's
call.
fine with me.
I do. And, you know, I'm always touchy when old things get torn out and replaced with fake new ones. Like, I don't care if it's replacing a vinyl window with another vinyl window, there's nothing lost. But in this case, we're taking something
Away.
antique from the building off and replacing it with, you know, to match something. So it's degrading the historic character of the building, and, you know, so that, for me, that's where my line is.
Well, our colleague, Mr. Green, once told us that he went through all the windows in his house, and I think it took a week per window, and rebuilt all the wood sashes and all that, but, you know, that's,
I've done that too.
yeah, but to hire a contractor to do that is, I'm not, and we're not worried about money, I know, but it's a lot.
Well, she just wouldn't do it. She'd just put up with the existing.
And there's also storm windows that you can get that use the same mounting bracket as your mosquito screens, so you just replace them. So
Yeah.
there's other options.
Yeah, there are other options, and I've seen that where the storms take on the 2/2 look, and I think that works.
Yeah, they have the little metal hooks and just put them in, they're nice.
But if they're termite riddled, they're in terrible condition.
Well, we would have to see that, evidence of that, and that would have
Yeah.
to take another month.
Well, the structural integrity of the walls, not questioned. It's, we gotta rebuild it. And the windows are gonna come out. So something's gotta go back where those windows are.
Again, I'd like to go with dead center. I'm prepared to make a motion and see where it goes. If everybody's in agreement.
I mean, I'd be prepared to table it or have them come back with better windows for the center Mountain or do a partial approval.
What's your feeling about the wall? I feel like I'm okay with the cement board as long as they
Put the battens
put
on.
the battens on and make it look similar.
Yeah, if they're like, 2 or 3 inch wide battens, oftentimes you'll see they're just like tiny little strips of
Oh, yeah,
battens
yeah.
and it
No,
just looks
no, if
awful.
they match the house, the battens on the
Yeah, I
house.
think they even have a requirement for 3-inch
Okay.
in the code.
But the windows, I think the windows are an issue that I'm not really okay with.
Ben, if you want to make a motion that, what you just
I'll
said.
make a motion to partially approve 2399, where the cement board, smooth cement board and 3-inch wide battens are approved, and for the applicant to come back with either proof of termite damage on the windows and a replacement that has center muntins. Real center muntins.
All right. Can do?
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Gaffer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All against say nay. Okay, 5 ayes, the application is partially approved.
As Mark said, partially.
Let's not make a coined phrase here. That shouldn't be the theme of the night.
PRB.
I'm partially satisfied.
Partially pissed off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, agenda item 6. Oh,
Can I-
yes.
Just point of order,
Yeah.
can we?
Hey, how you doing?
Make that final approval
Hold 'em up, Scott.
by the inspector? Did he have to come back to us?
Oh, I made
He's
it.
gonna come back, yeah.
It comes
Come
back.
back to us.
Yes, yes. Okay,
I guess
agenda item 6, application 23-100, 134 Tombstone Canyon, the fence.
Does this look like I have the cart before the horse? Because
Well, you have something in front of
we
you.
built it before we designed it. My apologies for that. We had, as you know, this project has been going on for some period of time. I'm Joe Massey, owner of 134 Tombstone Canyon Road. Months and months, and when we finally got everything else done, we said we need a fence and a gate across there. And so that's when we decided to go to the foundation of Bisbee itself, the rock that Bisbee is, and to take the look of the gabion, the rock-filled gabions, and make a gate out of it. We thought about javelina skeletons, scorpion on the fence, but when we came upon the idea that we could make it look like the wall behind it and that supporting it, that's what we did. We did it in 3 days. It was a labor of love. We took the photograph of the rocks, projected it onto paper, cut out the stencil, and transferred that to steel. And the next day, that was all one night, and the next day cut it out and started to fabricate the gate panels. And we really were in the process of dry fitting it to see if it was even going to work, if it was going to look good, because we hadn't drawn it out. There was no way to to fake it, to know what it was going to look like. Until we built it and we didn't care. We do that kind of stuff all the time. And so that's how I ended up with that cart before that horse and in front of you here tonight.
Thank you.
Certainly.
Okay, So we'll move on to public comment. Does anybody present have anything to say for or against this application? No? Okay. Moving on to staff comments.
It's a matter of aesthetics, it's your job, not mine.
Okay, thank you.
Staff deferrals.
Okay, opening the board discussion. I will say that because it did happen really fast, as you just pointed out. I was very surprised that you didn't come to us, especially after the last, bout that we had. So, why didn't you come to us?
We didn't even think of it. As a matter of fact, Lori, if you remember, I used to live up on near
Yes, of
near
course,
you.
of course.
And before the adoption of the 2022 rules, new guidelines, I built 6-foot-high fence with accoutrements and decorations all over the place without approval. Well, I don't believe it was required at that time, at least in that case. It wasn't called out, and I was told what to do by our good friend here. So I was really operating under that assumption that you could, if it was wasn't exceeding the height limit, that it was I could build what seemed appropriate. And I have to say one more thing is that I have talked to I know it's more than 200 people, it's under 300 people about this fence and this gate as built, and everybody loves it. It fits with the environment, with the new building. Nobody's said anything about what job Luke Oldfield did on the refurbishment and rejuvenation of that building. It's really beautiful.
It is beautiful.
I think so.
I agree.
And I think that the gate fits. I think everybody loves it. All the neighbors across the street, Shar, Dee Dee, Steve, and Nancy all love it. And I ask for your approval.
Can I ask what that courtyard is for, that it's enclosing?
The entire thing is going to be from now a workshop, my workshop. And so I envision doing some welding outside one of these days and having some workbench sorts of a steel table out there that goes up and down with a big vise on it and that kind of thing.
So just as a work zone?
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I wish you'd come in first, because I think it looks pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Well, I did pay double for.
Oh, there you go, so that, yeah, you had hell to pay.
I think it's interesting, the use of the gabion wall. We're seeing more, it's a good solution for Bisbee. And I think you're going to see more and more of it, because it's a lot cheaper than poured concrete and everything that goes with that.
You know, the gabions cost 3 times what the rock inside them did.
Yeah.
That Bisbee, I'm sorry, it's called Keno Blue, with a little bit of anthracite, green blues in it. $60 a ton, and cages were about $150 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
So more than that.
But it's still a good solution to.
I agree completely, yeah. It works great in the back of that.
I think we're going to see more and more of it as more and more.
I think you're right, we were talking about that last.
Oh, really, yeah. So I would certainly, scold you and say, don't ever do it again, but what the hell, it is a good looking fence. It's a piece of art.
Yes, it is.
Thank you so
It
much.
is.
Thank you.
Do you have any comments? Okay, all right. All right, do we have a motion?
Sure. I move that we approve as submitted. Oh. I move that we approve as submitted.
Approve what?
As submitted, oh, yes, 23-100, 123-100.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Dapper seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All against say nay. Okay, 5 ayes. Your application is passed unanimously.
I am wholly satisfied.
Oh, wow.
He's been waiting to say that. He's been waiting to say that.
That's a unique thing in Bisbee.
Okay. All right,
We're not being pleased.
moving along.
Sure. Maybe the opposite.
Agenda item 7, application 23-101, 148 Key Avenue. Hello. I recognize you as well.
I'm John Severovich, and I'm representing my daughter Milena. At 148 Key Avenue, we're proposing to make a deck to the left side of the house. As you can see on the drawing. And I'm asking for your approval.
Okay. So a deck and also removal of windows and installation of
Right, there's
French-
two
French doors.
French doors and a fireplace, exterior fireplace.
All right. Thank you.
Is that good?
All right, moving on to public comment. Anybody here have comments in favor or against the application on Key Avenue? Nothing? Okay, moving along. Staff comments.
I think it makes the house more usable, and it's not so bad, and it would be identifiable as not part of the original historic structure.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. Okay, board discussion.
I feel like a pergola it can be demounted, it can be taken off. A deck is something that can be taken off. There's a fireplace and windows that are changing, but that seems minor in the face of the scope of work that's already been done. So I think it's a good solution. It brings the outdoors in, the indoors out.
And then the doors, the French doors would be wood doors?
Wood doors, yes. All the windows in the house are wood.
Yeah.
We reconditioned, 95% of the windows to double hung.
Okay, great. And what is the fireplace made of, the chimney and the?
Maybe masonry or CMU.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I also thought because it's a wood pergola that it's in
Yeah,
keeping
it's nice.
with everything else.
It is nice.
All right.
Does Anthony have anything to say? He's still studying the drawings.
I guess my only comment was the French doors, maybe putting two doors in the same position as where the windows were.
Instead of French doors?
Yeah, instead of French doors, but I'm not I feel super strongly about that. Just an idea. So you just take the bottoms off the windows and put doors in there. Keep the same openings. It's a little bit more sensitive, but just a suggestion.
Okay.
If I could
Yes.
just add to what Ben said, you could make one door your screen, and then you wouldn't have to have a screen door over the other door. So for ventilation, you could leave one side screened and open it. We have that in our house on a couple of places where that way, if you did replace the windows with two independent doors, one would be in effect your screening to allow ventilation into the house, and the other one would be an access door. And I personally loathe screen doors because it means you got to open the door and they would slam and you walk into it when you least expect to, and all that sort of thing.
Sure.
It's just a thought, just to go on
Yeah.
with what Ben said.
I personally think the French doors would look better, and if they're wood and they're nice, it just seems weird to have two independent doors right next to each other. But,
Should I take a whack at it?
take a whack at it.
I move that we approve 23-101 48 Key Street as presented.
I second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against say nay. Okay, we have 5 ayes. Your application is approved unanimously.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, moving right along to agenda item 8, application 23-103, 132A Offer Drive.
Hi there.
Hello.
I'm Scott Schmelder, and I'm the homeowner,
Oh,
132 Opera Drive.
And
And
welcome back.
I bring to you the application that I brought to you last year, and you approved, and in the interest of following the rules, I just wanted to get it reapproved because my husband started grad school last year, and it derailed our desire to fix this place up.
But that's exciting
So,
for him.
it is exciting for him, but we really need to get this place done. So we did not get permitting done, so we're just bringing you back the application again for approval. And
Is it identical?
it's identical. It doesn't change at all.
I didn't check, but I remember before because it's one of the more difficult houses to see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It is.
it's not a historic
Does it have to be
contributor,
new?
and it's not visible from
It's a year old.
anywhere unless you're actually in.
Or you're on the Bisbee Bay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it was a tricky one to find.
It's hard to
Yeah.
find. It's sort of tucked in there.
Well, you know, drones.
I know,
Yeah,
that's true. Send your drones up.
Fortunately, I have sophisticated spy equipment.
Sorry, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
You remember this one?
Yeah, it's up the stairs.
It's
I
up
did
the
find
stairs.
it in a while.
I found it.
I did open the
I don't
gate.
remember how it goes.
But I think we approved it, so I am.
Everyone approved it last year.
Okay, so, but before we
Does
move
make
on,
sense.
Yeah.
we're just at the application, presentation, so, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And thank you for being honest.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna go and get the permits. I figured, you know what, they have a process and I'm gonna follow it, so.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
We
Okay,
get the money.
Your husband must be studying law.
okay, so moving on, do we have any public comment today for or against this application? No, okay. Staff comments?
No comment.
Okay. Board discussion, we kind of discussed it
Yeah.
somewhat. I'm inclined to just approve this, we approved it a year ago and nothing has changed.
It's good.
It's-
It's a good way of organizing the space. It's kind of a hodgepodge right now.
Oh, it's.
That's a really
bad.
tricky house.
It's really bad.
That's a really tricky house. So, I'll go ahead and make a motion, to approve application 23-103, 132A Offer Drive as is. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Gaffer seconds, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All against say nay. Okay, 5 ayes and you are again
Thank you.
approved.
I promise this year we'll at least get it started.
Get it started.
That's all you have to
That's
do.
all you have to do. Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, this is a good time to change the battery out.
Okay, pausing,
On the
battery
camera.
So
change.
stop the recording.
Okay,
Okay, camera speed.
all right. Moving on to agenda item 9, application 23-104, 802A Tombstone Canyon, solar panels, yes?
So, my name is Matt Sherwood, I'm representing Solaro Solar Electric, and we're applying to put 11 photovoltaic solar modules on Barbara Jones' property at 802A Tombstone Canyon Road.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. All right, moving on, any public comments?
You gotta open the public hearing.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
All right, so I'm opening the public hearing. Any comments? Letters?
Yes.
Yes.
The Bouchevets are in favor of the installation of the solar panels, and Mr. and Mrs. Braxton are also in favor of the solar panels.
Okay, thank you very much, appreciate it. Okay, I am declaring the public hearing closed and moving on to staff comments.
Looks good to me.
Okay, thank you. All right, staff comments are done, board discussion.
Solar panels are a necessity, like a wood stove was 100 years ago. We've talked about that in the past. and they're gonna have to be here until there's a new technology which I'm inventing in my basement. And I don't think as long as they're flat panel and they do the best they can to keep them out of sight, and I know these aren't 100%, but they look good.
Yeah, I agree with Doug. I wanted to compliment the applicant on an excellent submittal. We get some terrible solo submittals, and you really got the
Thank
idea of
you.
that. If we ever want to hold out something
Yeah,
as a
we
good
should.
example, this is a great
We
example.
usually get wiring
Do you ever
diagrams.
need a preferred solar installer in Bisbee?
Yeah, you have to move to Bisbee though, that's the
The
only
wiring
problem.
diagrams are nice if you're an electrical engineer, but.
Right.
Yeah, but no, this is a good submittal. Thank you. It really helps
Thank you.
get the idea of what it looks like. I'm happy to approve it. This is another comment.
More
Give Mr. Leffler a moment to peruse.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they're flat against the roof and not tilted like this.
Okay, do we have a motion for agenda item 9?
I'll make a motion to approve application number 23-104.
I'll second it.
Okay, seconded by Mr. Lepley. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against say nay. Okay, you have been approved unanimously. Thank you.
Barbara will be very happy. Totally happy.
Tell her we
Oh,
said
yeah.
congratulations. Totally happy, totally happy, yes. This doesn't need to get out to the rest of Bisbee.
Yeah, don't tell anybody got happy here.
Okay, moving on to agenda item 10. 23-106, 1615 West Boulevard. Is anybody here to?
I saw Jim's electric truck.
We got denied. We got denied. Go.
A meter locate was completed by APS on 10/13/23, and the meter will need to be placed on the face of the building, facing the street, due to the gas meter being in the area where it is placed and violates our APS ESRM electric service requirements manual. For our trouble man, the secondary location would be on the wall where the mural is located.
Okay. Thank you, appreciate it.
Just stay up here. 'cause I'll have
Okay, yeah,
questions.
he's gonna have questions. All right. Moving on to, you can hang out though, guys. Yeah, moving on to the public comment, anybody, yes. Come on up.
Hi, good evening. My name is Dennis Walto. My wife and I are new residents here in Bisbee. We love it. This is our first time here at this meeting. Nice to meet all of you. We bought this home about 5 or 6 months ago. We wanted to have the electrical upgraded to actually kind of bring it up to code. And so we approached Bisbee Electric to get this done. And so APS, when they came to place the new meter, actually put it right next to a window, which I thought was also in violation of one of their codes or stipulations. We do have room on the side of the house. There's a mural there now that was put on by the residents before us. We don't mind if the new box goes over that mural. We can always repaint. But we very much are against it being placed in the front of the house. My understanding was that APS said they didn't want to come into the yard or something like that, and that's why they wanted it in the front. But consistent with all the houses on West Boulevard, everything is behind a gate. So we would like to place it where the electrical company wants it, not APS,
Okay,
the contractor.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to staff comments.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. because like the lineman from Arizona Public Service said, well, we're gonna call you on this, Joe, this is, we wanna put it where we wanna put it, and we've got a right to do that. And of course they do, they've got the right to put it, to not turn it on, or, that's their right. But you guys also, and that's what I told them, is that you have an equal right with them, with the Arizona Public Service, that you can determine where it belongs on the house also. And the issue is the gate, is the fence around the yard with Arizona Public Service, because they don't wanna have to enter a locked gate or go, they'd rather have the gate, that fence moved. Well, they didn't say that, but that's my idea. If the fence were moved, then the service could be placed on the side of the house. And APS would be okay with that. But as it stands, that the Design Review Board's rules and APS's rules are opposed to each other in the sense of the location. I want it on the side myself.
Yeah, okay, great, thank you, appreciate it. All right, open it up, board discussion.
So, I had a little run-in with APS many years ago, and I took them to the Corporation Commission and won. And it wasn't that bad, it wasn't that hard. And it was not about aesthetics, but, I would push them on it, because if we back down on this one, they're gonna do it with every single other one, and we're gonna have these ugly meters on the front of all houses in Bisbee. So that's just my first comment. My second one is, why not just move the fence back, like Joe said, the gate back 5 feet and just have it.
Because the gas meter is still, it would have to be moved back even further, the
Right,
gate.
so you need 3 feet distance between the gas meter and the electric?
Right, but then there's a window there too, so it would have to go on.
So I sketched out a location, and I don't know where the gas meter is, but you can go,
Yeah, please do. Yeah, you can approach.
would that
Oh,
location work?
got it.
Right here, would that be 3 feet away from the gas meter?
Yeah.
I don't know, Joe, if he wants to see it.
Bring Joe in.
Come on, Joe.
I just,
Yeah.
So hourly, is that how you're charging this?
Right there. How the gas meter goes to
yeah.
We're all coming up.
Yeah, it's
I'm just wondering.
And we want one.
That's so if it's there, they put the meter here, and that seems like more than 3 feet.
This is where Charles was thinking was to put it in here because of then there's access to go above to run all the wires and do all the work that he has to do
They're
as
supposed to
well.
be 3 feet from the window.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right,
But
but even
all the
here
time
it's not 3
APS
feet,
does allow it.
so maybe this one.
Yeah.
I see it done because they don't have any other choices.
Yeah, that's
Sometimes
what
that's just,
Interesting.
Well, and if I could ask, are we on that portion?
Yes, we are.
So,
Sure.
is there a solution that everybody on your team sees that can make it on the side of the house without having to take anybody to a board or anything like that?
Well, if we could do it even underneath, like this part here, this is a crawl space, like a crawl attic space. If it could go even here,
Yeah.
that would work.
And what do the electrical guys say about that?
Like
Is
that's,
that possible?
They could move.
Aren't they the ones that?
Charles, that's what you wanted, right,
They could
was to
move
put it here.
Here.
Isn't a crawl
That's their
space
idea.
opening equivalent to a window though?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
That's a
either.
good question.
Still maintain
You
access.
can move the crawl space window.
Yeah, you can move the crawl, yeah, although it looks like
I don't know.
that's probably the largest portion of the attic that they
If
have.
you put it right there,
Yeah,
pending any structural thing, it would be the same size.
I think we're in agreement that it should be on the side of the house. I think that's what you folks want. Now it's getting APS on board, isn't it?
Yeah, that's not our purview.
No, that's not, and it is kind of like going to another kingdom.
And that would be, so if you put it there and maybe move the crawl space window to the front, then you could probably just move the gate back 2 feet, and I don't think it'd be in the way of your gas.
Yeah.
Right.
But I know in my house, he has to go through 2 gates to get to my meter, and they never said
Well,
anything. So.
Everybody he has to go through everybody's gates on all of West Boulevard. I've been walking and looking.
Yeah.
Everyone's is behind a fence of some sort.
And ours isn't locked.
Right.
Oh, yeah, you don't want
It's
to.
not
We didn't
like
hear that.
It's long gone are the days when they physically came and read a meter.
Right, they're just.
Right, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think you're doing an average of, well, you know, your past use or something, but I
Okay,
think
so-
it's sort of
I
a,
think we can make a motion.
yeah, it's sort of a no-brainer for us.
Okay.
And then if it turns out that they are gonna throw up a lot of roadblocks, you can come back and we can try to figure it out.
Okay.
So,
But we're all on the same, your team, our team, we're all on the
so
same.
I'm just trying to get a motion together. So maybe moving the crawl space,
I mean, is
opening to,
aesthetically, would that be, you would be okay with
yeah,
that?
yeah, moving the crawl space window there so that the electric meter.
And it may not have to move, it might be a different thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you perhaps leave it open, to just say it needs to be on the side instead of a specific place on the side?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would be our preference.
Is there an issue with running the wires from the box to, you know, within the house? Where there are
Could you just
runs?
speak so that Charles can hear you?
Is that gonna change how we do the changeover?
Well, it's not our problem, it's not our section.
But on the side.
On the side.
On the
Yeah,
side,
okay.
it should hit the vicinity.
Okay, I think Mr. Wackley's ready to make a motion. Yes?
Yeah, I mean,
But we have to go through with ATF and PDF if I approve that.
Right, so we would have to go back to APS to get them to approve a suggested placement.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So, I make a motion to approve application 23106.
That's what I tried to do that before.
I make a motion to approve application 2306 with the placement of the meter on the side of the house and moving the fence back, the gate back a little bit to allow the meter to be read without opening again.
I second the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against say nay. Okay, your application is approved unanimously.
I'm sorry, Lori, did you second?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anything else?
There's just the approval of the October 4, 2023 Design Review Board minutes. Okay, do we have a motion? I make a motion to approve the October 4, 2023 Design Review Board meeting minutes. Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. The minutes for October 4th are approved. Staff comments?
Okay, I hope we have enough time for all these.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay. I was thinking that there needs to be a policy set in by the, or several policies set by the board, or potentially set by the board, that one would be vinyl windows. We need a consistent way of dealing with these windows, because it always comes down to all these factors. If we had something consistent that we couldn't deviate from, that would make more respect for you guys, because people talk about these things too. And I think it would be good to have a solid rule that people could go by. You know, if you can't do it for one, you can't do it for anybody, kind of thing. And contributing and non-contributing maybe could be factors. Okay, the other thing is cement siding. That there needs to be a policy for that. There potentially, you guys might want to have a policy for that. And the next thing was French doors and patio doors, because that used to be that the board would not approve French doors and patio doors because they were considered not historically authentic. And so that's up to you guys. But it's just something to think about.
Tell the French that.
Yeah, let's see, the other thing I wanted to bring up is, there's a lot of examples all over Bisbee where we walk up these stairways and people have placed 6-foot board fences on the sides on the stairways. And we don't allow that on the front of a house, because it's the aesthetics of people being able to see the homes, because we're proud of our homes, and this is a historic district. But I think when you're on a public right-of-way there, on the public stairs, that you shouldn't be able to put up a 6-foot fence there either. Because I understand people wanting to have privacy, but I think it really detracts from our district, and something I wish you guys would think about. And other than that, thank you all very much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank
That
you.
was a good point.
I mean, is it worth having a separate session rather than trying to, because I agree with what you're
So there's
saying.
no discussion on this?
No, oh, well, I don't want to discuss it, but
He's discussing procedure.
Procedurally,
Yeah.
is this worth, and rather than putting it as a next agenda item, having a special session?
We can do that.
Discuss this like we did when we went through the.
Absolutely, like a work session, or do you want to be able to make a decision?
Right.
Work session, you can't make a decision, but a special session, you can make an action. You can take action on it, like say you want us to do this, you can vote to do that.
I think a work session would be very helpful.
Okay.
At the end, this is my thought, that at the end of it, we could therefore maybe draft what the revised rules would be, which would then be perhaps discussed officially at a.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that a way of moving forward?
Yeah, what I can do is I can look at the calendar, give you a couple dates and see what works.
Okay.
Since the holidays are coming up, we'll see what works.
Thank you, the holidays.
Yeah.
And is it possible for us to modify and what would be the procedure, I think I know already, but to modify the regulations as stand now, if we were to, because right now they allow.
The developmental standards or something?
Yeah,
Okay.
they allow some cement siding, they allow, I don't know if they allow vinyl windows, but.
Well, we can do that at the same time as the work session, and then we can amend it. It still has to, the board has to approve it, then it has to go to mayor and council for the final approval.
Right, and does zoning have to approve it?
We can send it to them for a recommendation to mayor and council.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay, so the work session probably is our best bet.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on to future agenda item suggestions.
Yeah, I'd like to suggest a discussion of possible means of having administrative approval of certain solar projects if they meet some set
That is on
procedures.
the table, sorry, that is on the table to discuss, but because we had so many applications tonight,
Yeah.
I spoke with Lori and I didn't figure that was another discussion you wanted after we just got finished
Well,
with
it
10
could-
applications.
It could also be for a special
It
session.
could be in that
Yeah,
work
so you want to
session.
put it in the work
Yes,
session,
in that
okay.
same work
I think
session.
that's a great idea.
I just didn't know how to word that.
That's okay, I just wanted to make sure, but there is the discussion for it, I just didn't know if that's what you wanted.
And I have another suggestion for, are we done with that one? I have another suggestion for a work session item. I have a letter from Ariana Urban from the historic, Arizona, yeah, thank you. I'm trying to do this as quickly as possible before senility takes me completely. But, and in it she wrote, this was a letter written to me, but it was also written to one of the designers in town. And she said that the historic nature of the home and their desire to live comfortably there, that she appreciated that, but the level of proposed modifications to the home will obscure its historic character beyond what can be considered contributing to the historic district. And I've been watching, this was about contributing buildings and how they can lose their status. And I believe that the SHPO has made judgments on that, and they do not know what's going on here in town. And I want to have that as a work session item that we discuss and perhaps we have to get somebody, I know last time we had SHPO involved, it was like some sort of, it was a call-in or something, but it didn't seem to be effective because actually the applicant spoke directly to them and the board did not. I would like to see us get a solid review, and that might affect what Mr. Ward was talking about with cement siding and vinyl windows. It may have some bearing on that. I believe that when we put vinyl windows, cement siding, French doors, and a 6-foot fence, that we are, and cutting down trees in there, I'm gonna put that into, but that we are degrading the contributing nature of a property, and we need to come to a conclusion on what that means.
Well, if you can give me a call next week, and that way, we can go over exactly what you would like me to ask SHPO, and then I can give them a call.
Okay.
It'll be, if they can, they have a tight schedule, and what they do is they just review things. So what I need to do, we'll need to do, or if you could do, is put something together that I could send to her, and then that way they can give their opinion and review of that.
Okay, that's great, I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you could get with me next week, and then we'll get that taken care of, and then we'll have that as a work session item.
Okay, anything else? All right, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
You didn't have any more?
We're enjoying ourselves.
Okay.
You didn't have any more to say?
I would like to make a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
This meeting of the Design Review Board is adjourned.
Fine, so just hit the
Bring it
stop.
over here.